CharlesHightower.com.
Hello, Oklahoma City, and welcome to The Groove with Charles Hightower. I got a very, very, very special treat and a very special icon. He is an icon. Mr. Gene Chandler, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine.
Have you been doing any traveling?
Not as much as I have in the past, but I'll be doing a lot of traveling this month and next month and December, January, February. I had cut things out for a while because of my business, and I didn't want to mix the two because it was getting kind of crowded, but I'm going back to work this month.
Tell us how you got started in the business, Gene.
Oh, gosh. Back in, I came home from the service. I was in Airborne Rangers for 3 years, and the group that I had left 3 months prior to me coming home, they had got a record deal. They got it on the basis of the artist that was doing the lead vocal for them at the time. But they knew I was coming home, and they said if he come home and find out we just signed a contract, he's not going to like that. And he told them also that they thought, they told the company owners that they thought that I was a better lead singer, and would they please wait? And they did. And after hearing me, the rest is history. I got back with the group, the Duke Hayes, and we recorded. Did our first recording. The second recording session is when Duke of Earl and Night Owl was recorded.
Okay, and Duke of Earl was one of your biggest hits.
Yeah, I wrote that in a rehearsal that we were doing.
Back in 1964, did you team up with Constellation Records?
Yeah, it was 64 because it was 1963 we put out the original Rainbow, and then as time went by, we began to embellish on the song when I was singing it on stage, and came up with a part 2. Mm-hmm. And of course, live in '65, Rainbow Part 2, they released it again, and it became a hit all over again. From Curtis Mayfield, of course, wrote the song.
Yeah, he was a brilliant writer, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, he wrote Mass Temptation, Nothing Can Stop Me, Just Be True. He wrote a lot of hit songs for me in the R&B field.
Yeah, because Nothing Can Stop Me, I think I saw a clip on YouTube. I don't know if it was from Swing Time or American Bandstand where you had your coat on and you kind of did sort of like the Jackie Wilson thing when he had his coat on and kind of went on. But
oh, yeah, I remember that. I think it was either Hullabaloo or one of those other shows.
Uh-huh.
But, years later when I looked at that, and I said to myself, that's a classic.
Yes, it is.
Because, and I'm going to tell you why, because they give you a rehearsal maybe once or twice or something like that. And they had it scripted out, and they told me what they wanted me to do. Mm-hmm. Come at the top of the stairs, start up there. And then when it's time for the next verse, I had to make my way down the steps to the next landing to start the next verse. And then when it was time for the next verse, I had to make myself downstairs. And then they had a guy standing there with the hat and the jacket. I'm sorry, the coat, the trench coat. Mm-hmm. And they script it out and say, throw this over your shoulder and put your hat on, because at the end of the song it said, get my hat, I'm checking out.
I'm checking out.
Yeah.
I like that, get my hat.
Yeah. It was so slick. And when I looked at it, I said, that was really nice what they put together. I didn't pay much attention to it at the time. I just thought it was good. Mm-hmm. But when I looked at it, I said, back in those days, there was something with the way they put that together. And it all ended with me looking at the camera and throwing my hand saying, yeah, yeah. And I just thought that was awful slick.
And that was so tough, man. It was tough the way, you just looked so cool when you was doing it, man. I said, man, you was just so cool with it. I said, look at Gene Chandler. This is the Duke of Earl walking down. I said, look at him. I said, look at him. But man, I tell you, it was so cool. It was a song called What Now?
Yeah.
Now, What Now was a song too, man.
Also written by Curtis.
Curtis was so brilliant, man. He was so brilliant.
Yeah, he was very good.
Very brilliant. But, even though he sung Nothing Can Stop Me, I like the way Curtis did it, but you put your spin on it. It was just the way you did it. You slowed it down, and it was a little cooler.
Well, there's a little story about that.
Mm-hmm.
That song. It wasn't written for me.
Oh, it wasn't?
Let me back up a little bit.
Okay.
Curtis played some songs for me at one of the shows that we were on together in the basement, and he played these songs. And one of them was Man's Temptation, I think What Now, and Monkey Time. So I said, Curtis, I like all three of those. don't do a lot of up-tempo songs, but I like that Monkey Time. And so Curtis said, well, the Monkey Time, Eddie Thomas, that was their manager at the time, he want us to do that. I said, well, what you playing for me for? And so I said a few more choice words to him, and he said, well, listen, if Eddie will give it up, then you can have it. So I knew Carl Davis, my manager, knew him well. So I called Carl and told him about these songs and this song, Monkey Time, and I wanted it. When I got home off the tour, Carl said, Gene, I got the songs. He said, but I need a favor from you. And I said, well, what's that? He said, Columbia Records said that if Major Lance does not get a hit in this next session, they're going to cancel his contract, drop his contract. And so he said, that Monkey Time, we think is perfect for Major. So I said, okay, all right. I was hot, you know, and Major was in the stable with us, and so I said, okay. And he gave it to Major, and you know the rest is history. It became a hit, and then there was I'm My Mom and Hey Little Girl and all of that. Well, about, maybe 8 months after that song was out, Carl said, come to my house. I want you to hear some of the things that Curtis wrote for Major. He just wanted me to hear because he always listened to my opinion of what I thought about things.
Right.
And so I'm listening to these songs, and in there was Nothing Can Stop Me. So I said to Carl, Carl, Turnabout is fair play. I gave you Monkey Time. Major became a hit with it. I love that Nothing Can Stop Me. He said, you got it.
That Nothing Can Stop Me was a bad boy.
So that's how I ended up with Nothing Can Stop Me.
When you put that, when the part 2 of, what was it, Rainbow 65, when you did that and you started part going two. Yeah, I think it was part 2 on the other side. You can flip
mean
it
the live version?
Yeah, the live version. Yeah. When you did that baby, them girls just went crazy, man.
Yeah, what happened is I was doing the song on stage. See, they originally released You Threw a Lucky Punch. They didn't really like Rainbow.
Oh, they didn't?
And so I said, if you don't like it, make it the B-side to You Threw a Lucky Punch. That was the answer to Mary Wells' You Beat Me to the Punch.
You Beat Me to the Punch, yeah.
Yeah, they were going for You Threw a Lucky Punch. Okay, I recorded it. I wasn't crazy about it. I was crazy about Rainbow. So I said, well, if y'all don't like it, just make it a B-side, okay? They did that, but I had a plan in mind. You Threw a Lucky Punch was going up the charts, but I refused to sing it. I was singing Rainbow.
Right.
And I remember, and what happened is they were hollering more and more when I would end the song, and I kept coming back embellishing until I established the part 2. And so I got a call at the Howard Theater while those songs were out there, and they said a jock in Richmond, Virginia, and in Newark, New Jersey turned it over, and the phones lit up. And they called me up and said, well, I guess you were right. Rainbow looked like it's the song. Yeah. And so, of course, I kept singing and embellishing. So, of course, when they recorded me live at the Regal Theater, they caught part 1 and 2.
Right.
And you hear the audience, how they were screaming out and say, you know, we should release that again. Look at the reaction from the audience, I think. And I said, I don't know. I didn't know that much about the business at that time, but I went along with it. And, of course, it was a hit all over again, the live version.
Right.
And, of course, Rainbow is one of the few records. Well, I did a third version of it.
Yeah, you sure did.
Rainbow 80.
Yep.
And this is 15 years later after 65. And the reason why I did it was because 2 years prior to that, we had decided that each new album we would put an oldie from the 60s in there. And somebody said, do Rainbow. I said, man, I did it twice. We had a hit twice. You know, I don't know about that. And so they say, Come on. Well, I'll tell you what we do. Let's record it and call it Rainbow 80.
Yep.
So now the record that came out was Does She Have a Friend for Me?
Yep, that was a good one, too.
It was going up the charts.
Right.
And then when the Jocks got the album, it read Rainbow 80.
It sure did.
So they threw it on the box and put it under the needle, and all of a sudden, bang, this thing took off. So I was very fortunate and blessed to have a hit 3 times off the same song.
Because I remember Rainbow, it was a slower version of it, wasn't it?
No, it's the same speed.
Wasn't it a studio version?
That's the Rainbow 80.
Okay. Because
let's go back. The original one, 1963,
right,
was a studio version.
That was yeah.
Yeah, and I embellished on it. Then there was a live version that they called the part 2. And like I say, we started putting oldies, one oldie in the new album, and in 1980 they thought we should do Rainbow, so that was done in the studio. But what was different was the females. We had females doing the background, and the first two there were males.
Sure did.
Right.
And the last one, you went to 20th Century Fox and did that one, right?
Yeah, Carl had a deal with 20th Century Fox, my manager, and they got that particular album.
Right.
And also, I think somewhere in the middle there, RCA took over or something.
They've always had that, and I guess they had sold out over the years. But you know, it was so many good record companies, because you don't really hear of too many record companies anymore. They're all independents that the classic, soul people go to. It's not like, RCA or Mercury or even Motown. I mean, it's not really too many, big companies that take in a lot of, classic artists.
Well, it's all changed today.
Yes.
Today, a lot of the record companies, you got to come in with something basically already recorded and mastered and everything, where they used to give you a budget if they thought that you could become a hit artist for them. Mm-hmm. But today, you just about have to have your product already ready for them, and they'll listen to it. Not like it used to be in the business. They don't sell records like they used to.
Because I know the Shy Sound, man. I mean, you guys had a lot of people. The Shy Lights. I mean, with you guys, and it was a lot of different people. Even Chess Records, all the people with Chess Records and everything. I mean, you guys were really hitting back in the day.
Yeah.
So, how does it feel to go into the new recording studios and cut a record, or either cut a CD?
I have no idea, because I don't record anymore.
Oh, you don't? Oh, you don't?
No.
Okay.
No, that's the last thing on my... I'm in real estate, and that's big for me. I just go out and do some shows. Like I say, I had to cut out doing the shows. I mean, because it's a lot of fun, and I do it for the love of the fans.
Right.
They're the ones that have supported me all these years, and so going out there and getting all that love and standing ovations when you do your show and what have you. So I just enjoy doing it. It's a lot of fun, and you get paid for it.
Right. Well, tell me something. How did Groovy Situation go with you?
Well, it was me, Seller, of course.
Right.
I was producing 27 acts and managing 15. I had my own record company, and I was running 2 or 3 other record companies and producing for other companies. Had a lot of work on my hand. When I started, I thought I was going to get Curtis Mayfield to come over and be a producer with me, and also Eugene Record of the Starlights.
Right.
He was going to leave Brunswick, but something happened and they retained him. So I didn't get him, and Curtis started Curtom.
Right.
But I had went out and made a deal for all these acts, so now I'm stuck with them, so I had to record them, and that's how I had so many acts that I had to do on my own. I did quite well, I mean, I had Backfill in Motion, and Are You Lonely About the Sister's Love, and at A&M, and I had a few million sellers, and in the process, the Bamboo label, which I had Mel and Tim on, those writers were over there, and 2 of the writers wrote the Groovy Situation and sent it to me.
Oh, okay.
And I decided I would record it. It wasn't as soulful as the other things I had done, but then, you look for the crossover anyway, where you can try to please everybody and sell records. And that's how I got Groovy Situation.
In the 60s, we had a radio station called KBYE AM and FM. Did you ever come and visit the tall man, the Watosh Ben Tipton?
Yeah, I came in, but you're talking about the 60s.
Right.
I was going to so many radio stations, it's hard to specifically remember a particular radio station, except for, of course, the big ones around the country at that time, and some of them are not in business now.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's sort of a corporate act, I mean, because I've tried to do, we do soul radio here in Oklahoma City, and, you have to really get out there and sell it, and a lot of people, some people don't want to touch it because the older people aren't buying it. It's all the young people that has the buying power now. But, with this music that we play every week on The Groove, we love it, we cherish it, and we really love the artists that really put their efforts behind it, and the producers. And I'm saying that your music is still being played here on The Groove, and we love it, and we will always cherish it.
Well, I appreciate that, and thank you very much.
Well, Gene, I think that's all the time we have, and thank you for joining us on The Groove with Charles Hyde.